Hello everyone, this is Zagany333, and today we're going to be checking out a French extreme horror film that goes by the name of Frontiers. This film was released in 2007. It is actually NC-17 rating, and it is 1 hour and 48 minutes. So, this film, what's special about this one I thought I would mention is that it's actually a part of the After Dark Horror Fest, the 8 films to die for and stuff. And that's one thing I'd also mention to you guys, is if you're looking for any kind of cool, new horror to check out and stuff, maybe consider checking out any of the After Dark Horror Fest films and stuff. I've watched quite a few of them, and pretty much like never have I had it where there was one I didn't like from my recollection and shit. So you can't go wrong with that. Check that out if you're looking for some kind of new set of horror films to check out. There's plenty there. But what's this film about? Well, it centers on a character named Yasmin, and they're in Paris, and she's pretty much with a group of friends, and there's like rioting going on, and they end up stealing stuff, and they have like a bunch of money and everything. Well, and they try to get out of the chaos, and they pretty much wind up in the midst of particularly crazy, fucked up, ravenous kind of family, and then things go downhill from there. Apologies. So yeah, that's the fucking story in a nutshell. But the first thing I thought I would say here also, I mean, not the first, because this is the third topic I've talked about already, but this is one thing I thought I would say. To me, I feel like in a way it's its own thing, so don't get me wrong on this. It's not really copying or anything to me. This is what it reminds me of. It is its own thing. It kind of does some different stuff. But to me, the closest thing that I could put this film to would be something like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And so I thought I would put here that if you're a fan of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series, to me, you very well might like this film because, I mean, it has that kind of element there, like I've mentioned, where there's this kind of crazy family and people trying to kind of survive. But it does its own things that are kind of unique too. So it changes those things up. But I thought I would mention that if you're a fan of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I like all those that I've seen. There's sadly a couple of the newer ones I haven't seen, but I mean, I've watched all the old ones and stuff. Really always liked that series as a kid and stuff. But if you like that, you'll like this. But yeah, I already mentioned After Dark Horror Fest and stuff. But here's the other thing I'd mention here that I think makes this film pretty awesome. And that is that it has, like I kind of mentioned, it does its own things. It has kind of bits of different genres of horror kind of mixed and blended in here. You have, like I said, where you have this crazy family kind of tormenting them and, the survivors there. But you also have where I mentioned, like in that beginning portion where there's like, the rioting and they're trying to kind of get out of the city. So that's not even a horror portion. But you kind of have that. You have where they meet the family and, learn that they fucked up by meeting said family. Sorry, I thought I'd take a fucking drink there. Then you have even like bits that are kind of almost like found footage where where one of the people has a camera and they're kind of using the night vision and stuff. It's not very long, so if you're one of those people that does not like found footage stuff, don't worry about that. It's pretty short. There's only little bits of it, but I thought that was a neat touch there too. And I probably shouldn't get into the other things that it kind of does, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. It adds kind of bits of different kind of feelings when it comes to horror and blends them together, and it does it pretty well to where, yeah, it doesn't feel slapped together or anything. Other horror films that might try kind of blending different genres of horror together like that in a way, it might just kind of feel forced in there and doesn't really fit with the movie or the story or anything. But this, they end up being able to explain all those things and having a pretty decent story as well as it working out. And I also thought I'd put here, I don't know if it's like the theme song, I haven't looked into it, but there is like one track that's pretty good that plays throughout it. I just thought I'd mention that as well. And this movie, here's one trivia thing. This movie, I guess, was banned in Thailand. So, yeah, And here's another thing that I'd mention. I do believe I've seen this on disturbing lists, actually. So this classifies as a disturbing film. And now when I think about it, I mean, while it's not exactly, you know, a typical horror film, it's pretty fucked up. At least to me, I don't personally feel like I find this film that disturbing. And I think the only reason for that one is, to me, it kind of just comes off as an extreme horror film. Whereas, you know, others on the list that I've reviewed or looked at definitely, you know, do something different or something really messed up and crazy that kind of messes with you or kind of puts you on the edge of your seat or something like that. Whereas to me, I kind of just feel like this is horror, but trying to push the bounds a little bit, but not really, yeah, you know, being all that disturbing personally. I mean, that's a preference kind of thing. Maybe other people might find this film a disturbing one, especially if you're not well acquainted with horror or extreme, you know, horror and stuff. But it's still a good movie. It doesn't need to be, you know, super disturbing. And I mean, I like regular horror too. It doesn't have to be a fucking disturbing film. So, the rating that I thought I would give this is somewhere between like a 7 or a 7.5. And like I said, I think I would recommend it to people, you know, in particular who like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. If you're looking for something that's somewhat similar to that but does its own kind of thing, I think you'd really, you know, benefit and like this film. But I think now I'll go into some of the spoilers for everyone who wants to actually check this awesome film out. Peace. And for everybody else who wants to maybe hear me joke, or I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to joke or not. Or just go over some fucking spoilers and shit. Let's fucking do this! Alright. Now that I've lit my smoke. Okay. So, the first thing I thought I would put here, which is always an amusing fucking thing to me. Sorry, I probably should have, like, drunk an entire drink before this, like a glass of water or whatever else. But I don't know why this happens all the fucking time. And I probably mentioned it before. But why do they always insult the fucked up family, the crazy people, the pissed off people? I mean, it does not fail all the time for, like, some group to be, you know, welcomed in and they're eating dinner or whatever else. Or, you know, they're shambling about the fucking property or something, and they just have to find one thing to bitch about to the wrong fucking family, the wrong people. And I mean, they in this one, one of the characters kind of goes out of their way to be a dick about it, and so in a way, it's just like, oh fucking come on, like. But yeah, and another thing I probably should have mentioned here is that when it comes to Texas Chainsaw, in a way, it kind of reminds me more so of Next Generation, which I like that film. I think a lot of people, even in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I think I'd heard, like, negative things about it. Not many like that film. I still fucking liked it. Like I said, I like all of the old ones and stuff, so, I mean. But in a way, it kind of reminded me of that, just because they're not always at the house when you watch this film. They're kind of, you know, they're traveling, they're going to different places and stuff, which is, to me, reminiscent more so of the Next Generation. And I apologize for the fucking rain again, awesome. It just waited until now to have the downpour to fuck up my video. Fuck you, rain god, or whatever the hell. I don't know. I'm fucking around. But no, fuck you, I like the rain. So, anyways. Yeah, they piss off the family, first off. I don't know why. Why couldn't they have just eaten the food, been friendly, been kind, and went on their way? I mean, I doubt they would have still went on their way, but they would have had more likely of a chance of going on their way if they wouldn't have fucked the family. Okay. Next thing, and I already kind of mentioned this one, but I thought that the found footage moments were actually pretty awesome, the night vision and stuff, and we were seeing the one family member's, like, children that are down in this cave system and stuff. I don't know, I thought that that was a really cool segment. You know, it changed things up a little bit, and that was the other thing that I put here that I didn't spoil earlier. Because, I mean, you even get that whole cave sequence segment there, so that's what I meant about blending different things together. You know, they're not just in a home, they're, like, traveling kind of about. You get that riot part, you get found footage, you get where they go through this kind of cave system, and they're, like, down in the, you know, even in that freezer room and stuff. I mean, you get kind of different kinds of horror blended together, but it all works. And then the story even explains that with, like I said, that one family member and having that. Because, I mean, at first you might wonder, well, what the hell is this when they're down in the caves and they have those things coming after them? But it ties all those story bits together, and it's pretty cool. Another thing I thought I'd put here is the Achilles tendon scene, which a few horror films have done that. That always fucks with me. And I mean, I probably mentioned this before too, but that totally reminds me of House of Wax, which I actually like the movie House of Wax, the newer one. I don't think I've seen the actual like old original film, but the newer one, I think it was made in the 2000s or something like that. I thought that was a pretty good film, but that always gets me whenever someone has their Achilles tendon cut. It's really fucked up. So I mean, I guess that would be an aspect that's to me a disturbing thing, but yeah. The next thing here, I thought this was kind of funny. And it is that I don't recall the father's name, the head of this fucking group here. I can't recall the fucker's name. But for being so smart, for being so intelligent and being so capable, this fucking guy has Yasmin sit right next to him with access to a fucking blade. I mean, how did you not know that was gonna go wrong, you stupid egotistical fuck? I don't know. It's just, I mean, he's spouting all this bullshit and everything else, and the whole family feels like they have this upper hand thing. But that's what I always thought was kind of hilarious this time anyways, funny and amusing, is, having the upper hand and all that, and then he just doesn't give a shit and lets the fucking person sit right fucking there with clear access to a blade, nobody else around to stop the fucking person. I mean, what would you do? You'd take the chance, wouldn't you? I mean, come on, fuck. But yeah, that was another bit there. And then I thought it was also funny later on. I think the character's name was Guts or whatever. Anyways, that fucker, whenever he's taunting Yasmin, and says, "Look at me," immediate axe to the fucking neck. I thought that was fucking funny too, how he's, being all boastful and all this other shit, and then axe to the fucking neck, rapidly. So yeah, he got what he deserved as well. And this fucking smoke is, sorry, I have to relight. God, without fail, you fuckhead. Okay, but yeah. Oh man, I'm a fucking moron. This entire smoke is screwed up. Never mind, guys. I'm sorry. I have to grab a different one. But yeah, he thought he had her as well. And she just totally fucked him up big time. I mean, not just the axe, but I mean knocking his ass back onto the fucking saw blade and everything else. That was great. And that's what I probably should mention, is I think that the fights and struggles and shit, I mean, they even, have use of firearms throughout the film and stuff too, which not a lot of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies have that. But I even thought all of that was, pretty cool. Like, it keeps the film fresh and entertaining throughout the entire film. That's what I should have mentioned before spoilers. Why I think that this one is, its own thing and kind of notable. And what's pretty cool about it is it's always changing these things up, and it's always managing to keep the entire, experience fresh. It's not sticking with one specific horror style. It's changing all this stuff up. And that leads into the next thing I was going to say, which is I think the shootout at the end is a really awesome scene, a really intense one. And that's what I'm saying, it goes from the found footage to these cave sequences to, traveling around to, the typical bit where you would have the family in the home and stuff, that, the cannibalistic family and shit like that. It has like all these different things, but then it even has, moments like that whole shootout at the very end that kind of keep it different and everything. But I thought that was a really cool kind of addition there and stuff. But yeah, I think that is finally pretty much all that I gotta say. So I hope that you all have, a great, wonderful, fan-fucking-tastic day, and that either, maybe I helped you discover a new cool film, or maybe the After Dark Horror Fest films, maybe I helped you, learn about those, have a pretty cool, set of films to be looking into and checking out. Like I said, For me, I've seen quite a few of them, and I don't think there was a single one I did not like. So you can't go wrong with those. And, you know, even if you haven't, even if you don't do that, maybe now you can check out Texas Chainsaw Massacre or something like that. But I hope you have an amazingly kick-fucking-ass day, watching some cool horror and enjoying, you know, the dreary weather like I will, because, yeah, the rain and all that shit is awesome as fuck. But have an amazingly awesome one, guys. Peace. Have a great one.